So, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Did you know that 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck? Are you tired of being worried about your electricity or your water being cut off? Or that your credit card will be declined because you were not able to pay last month's bill? Or are you one of those lucky ones that just want to be in a better financial position? Then pay attention, as in this video I'm going to outline 6 steps that can help you towards obtaining financial freedom and stop living paycheck to paycheck. If you like this video, then please subscribe. The videos are completely free and I'll be uploading new videos on a regular basis. Lastly, please gently tap that like button as it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithms. So, as I mentioned, in this video I'll be going over 6 steps that can help you get on track to achieve financial freedom. Some steps will be more difficult than others, but trust me, they are all achievable. And I've been there, not being able to sleep at night because I was worried about how I was going to pay the bills. I've had my electricity cut multiple times, my credit card declined, and being there not knowing how the hell I was going to dig myself out of the hole. I'm no financial advisor, so please make your own decisions and take responsibility for them. But I will say that these are the steps that I took and it definitely put me on the right track. Okay? So step 1, acknowledgement. You need to acknowledge that there is a problem. Like everything, the first step is acknowledging that you have a problem. Just like in AA, people have to stand up and say, hey, my name is Dennis and I'm an alcoholic. And it's exactly the same with personal finance. You need to acknowledge that I'm spending too much money. I am not making enough money. But most importantly, you need to acknowledge that you want to get yourself into a better financial situation. And hey, just you being here watching my video is a step in the right direction. Okay? And step 2, budget. You need to start running yourself and your household like a business. Imagine a company like Apple not knowing how they're doing financially, not knowing if they're spending more than they're making, not knowing if they're making money on a particular product. They need to know exactly how much money they're bringing in and exactly how much money is going out. They need to know their balance sheet and their cash flow. We are not going to get too deep into this or too technical about it, but know that if you're not running yourself like a business, it's going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to achieve financial freedom. A study I recently read said that more than 18% of people making, wait for it, $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling to make ends meet. Can you imagine making $100,000 a year and not being able to pay your bills? I can assure you that an extremely small amount of those 18% are running themselves like a business. But don't worry, I will show you how to do this in this video. I suggest that you take out a pen and paper and write some of these things down. In my description you will find the bullet points, but I still suggest that you take some notes. So the first thing we are going to do is to calculate our net worth. This will help you find out exactly where you stand and will help you track your progress over time. If you don't know your net worth, it's like playing a game of football without a timer or a scoreboard. You will not know if you're winning or losing. And with finances, it's exactly the same. You need to keep track of your finances so that you know where you stand and if you're doing better or worse than last month, last quarter, or even last year. It's very simple to calculate your net worth. What you need to do is on one side list all of your assets. Your valuables like bank accounts, investments, retirement funds, expensive jewelry, etc. Simply put, any type of asset you can sell. Add all of these together. Then on the other side, you need to write down all of your liabilities and debts. Mortgages, car loans, student loans, credit card loans, anything that is a negative or something you have to pay out. Then add all of those up and balance them out with your assets. Your net worth is your total assets minus your total liabilities. Okay? When you balance these two out, you will know exactly where you stand. Maybe you have a negative net worth because you have a lot of student loans or credit card debts. If you were a student for 6 to 8 years, your net worth will more than likely be negative and could be negative to the tune of 100,000 or 200,000 or even more. Okay? This is the first step. If you did not completely understand how to do it or are still confused, then just do a quick Google search on how to calculate your net worth. But we will go more in depth later in this video, and I will have more videos on my channel talking more in depth about this subject. Now we have our net worth here. We are going to look at it another way of calculating your financial position. And this is more focused on the short term, which is going to be our monthly budget. With this separate formula, we're going to look at our current monthly budget. So you need to take a look at your bank statement from last month and see how much money came in to your bank account and how much money went out of it. For example, you made $1,500 from your job. That went in your bank account. But then $2,000 went out of your bank account. That means you spent more than you made, which means that you went negative $500 last month. Then you can look at that number and formula and transfer it over to your net worth and apply it there. And this will show that your net worth went down $500 that month due to you spending more than you made. So those are the two things I would like you to do after this video. Okay, just to recap, number 1, calculate your net worth. Number 2, calculate your monthly budget. These are very simple to calculate. You can do it on an Excel sheet or a simple piece of paper. Or if you want to get really fancy and technical, you can find a budgeting app online. I really hope that you do this, as it's a second step in the right direction. The first one being admitting you have a problem. A lot of people don't do this, me included. It took me a long time to do it as I was afraid of what it was going to be. So I just continuously pushed it to one side. And it's a massive mistake. So you've realized there is a problem. You have now analyzed your current situation by calculating your net worth and monthly budget, and realized that your net worth is $10,000, or I'm worth minus $150,000 because I went to medical school for 6 years, or more negative because you borrowed for a business that didn't quite work out. And trust me, I really know how that last one feels, and it really, really hurts. But no matter what your number is or the position you're in, I want you to know that it's okay, and it's definitely something you can get to a positive number. It won't be easy, but if you put in the time and dedication and follow these simple steps, I think you're going to find yourself in a much, much better position. And this brings us to step 3, set goals. In this step, I want you to set some realistic goals for the next 3, 6, 12 months, and then 5 to 10 years. There are a lot of different types of goal settings that you can do, but this is an important step in the right direction to financial freedom. So say you have $15,000 in liabilities and your net worth is negative $15,000. You can set a goal that for the next year I want to be worth just negative $5,000 or even 0. And this is actually something really good to strive for. A lot of people have a lot more debts than they have assets on their balance sheets at the moment. So step 3 is simply setting goals for yourself for the next 3, 6 and 12 months of where you want to be and tracking them using the formulas that we went through in step 2. But please set realistic goals. And this brings us to step 4. Educate yourself in personal finance. There are a lot of different ways you can educate yourself. You can watch videos just like this one. You can read books. I've read a ton of financial books, but the one I recommend the most, and which is actually the first one I read as an adult, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. Funny story about this book is that my wife gave it to me as a present a long time ago, and I had it lying around for like 4 years before I picked it up and started reading it. But when I finally picked it up, I read it cover to cover in just 2 days, which is actually really fast for me because I'm dyslexic and I find it extremely difficult to read. This book offers personal finance education, helps you learn cash flow, how to invest in real estate, how to start a business, and lots of other really useful things. I have a link to it under this video, and yes, if you click the link and buy the book, I will make a very small fee, something like 20 or 30 cents. So I would really appreciate it if you do, because hey, every little helps. And I do highly recommend it, but I would also suggest that you read more books. So I'll put a few more links underneath of books that I highly recommend. And this brings us to step 5, cutting costs. This step is one of the most important steps of the process to financial freedom. So now you've read a few books, watched a few videos, and you feel comfortable. I want you to take the big audit we did in step 2 and analyze where you can cut costs. In most cases, the top 3 expenses are housing, transportation, and food, in that order. I know that around the internet people tell you to stop going to Starbucks, stop eating out, cancel that gym membership that you hardly never go to. But for today, I would like to start by focusing on the really big expenses, where you could possibly save $400 or $500 a month instantly. For example, if you're paying $1,500 a month in rent, then maybe it's time to think about getting a roommate or 2 so that you can bring that cost to just $500 or $600 a month. And then take a look at your car. See what it's costing you. Did you know that the average American spends $9,282 per year on their car, which equals to over $770 a month? Do you really need your car that much? If you live somewhere that has poor public transport or have kids, then you obviously need your car. But then you could maybe investigate in getting a cheaper car to run. Do you really need that huge SUV or gas guzzler? Please take a look. Then food-wise, there's lots of ways to cut your food expenses without being silly. You can buy the generic brand or go to the supermarkets that are cheaper. Not eat out so much like I mentioned before, and not ordering Uber Eats a few times a week, but rather cook at home, or in extreme cases cook in bulk so you have food for the whole week. By going through your monthly outgoings this way and hopefully cutting costs will probably mean that instead of going minus 500 like you did last month, you could be breaking even, or even better, have some money left over at the end of the month. How nice wouldn't that be? And talking about money, this brings us to step number 6, make more money. Step number 5, focus on cutting costs, which is extremely important. But we cannot forget the all-important making more money. A business does not just focus on cutting costs, but also on how they can make more revenue or sales, so they have more money coming in as well. I understand that it's a lot easier said than done, but there are a lot of different ways for you to be able to make more money. I will not go into too much detail how you can make more money in this video, as I'll be posting more videos on that topic on this channel very soon. Some examples are that you could get a second job, a side hustle, babysitting, or depending what your job is, ask your boss if you can get some extra shifts. But the general idea here is to cut costs, as I mentioned in step 5, and increase your income, as I mentioned in step 6. So that when you go back to step 2 and calculate your monthly budget, you should have a budget surplus, which you can use to pay off debts and liabilities that in turn will increase your net worth. Okay, so I'll just summarize quickly here. Step 1, acknowledge there is a problem. Step 2, calculate your net worth and monthly budgets. Step 3, set goals. Step 4, educate yourself by reading books, watching videos, or maybe taking a course or going back to school. Step 5, cut costs. And step 6, make more money. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I am not a financial advisor. In this video, I am just outlining the steps which I took that really helped me get in a much better financial situation. If you liked the video, then please subscribe and tap that button. Remember, it's all for free, and I'll see you in the next video.